tonight has come. We are about to be ready for my movie review to my very first MGM movie review for MGM month, June 1st all the way to 30th. So the kickstart for MGM month, we are about to do a movie review to honestly not just is my favorite movie by MGM, but this has got to be one of my all-time favorite James Bond movie I have ever seen in my 23rd years of my life in this universe, which is none other than No Time to Die. The one film that Alex went on it. And I gotta say, screw his rant on No Time to Die. I was almost gonna handle his opinion, but not until he have audacity to chill for James Bond death. And you already know chilling on death scene is very heartless jerk. So I'm putting on to get a 4K version of No Time to Die, because I'm putting on to get every film on digital. Anyway, enough further ado. Let's get started. My name is Bond. James Bond. Hello fellas, what the search? My name is Nick Hicks Studio Lounge here, and tonight we're about to do my very first movie review for MGM month. Doing to Pound month is all over with now, and now it's time to go back to do a MGM month for the very first time on the Nick Hicks Studio Lounge. And the lounge for the night, we are about the kickstart of the MGM month, which this review was originally going to be up last night, but apparently I didn't even know that John Wick fan, his SpongeBob SquarePants episodes on Toon Discussion was easily a 3-hour live stream, which that is why I didn't have enough time to do my movie review on this movie I'm going to be talking about. So I will be talking about the title here in just a minute. So tonight we're about the kickstart of this perfect timing for MGM month, and what a perfect timing for a next of an armored movie called Ballerina, which is a John Wick spinoff, and I am very excited. And honestly, and I swear to God, if I hear any of the people saying that movie is woke or because it's about female empowerment, could be my Phantom Menace and make yourself like an idiot. So when you do that, so I already know it's very insult, but honestly I don't care, because these Phantom Menace and these woke mob deserve that kind of insult. Doing to they insult us. So what's the point of being nice to them? Doing to they insult us. That's what I thought. So yeah. So tonight we're about to do a movie review on the final installment of the Daniel Craig Bond movie, which is none other than No Time to Die. Well, originally this film was supposed to come out in 2020, but I'll get to that reason in a minute. But it came out the year, which is none other than 2021. Even I prefer Spider-Man No Way Home as a better 2021 movie more than No Time to Die. But don't worry, Daniel Craig. Don't worry, man. Don't worry. This film is in a close second now. Yes, even better than Encanto, Raya and the Last Dragon, Tom and Jerry the movie, and even better than Spiral for the Book of Saw, and even better than Black Widow, and even better than Eternals, and last but not least, even better than every film that came out that year. Anyway, enough further ado. Let's get this review started before I stutter. Here we go. So, before I get to my opinion on this movie and talk about the rating of the film, let's go back in 2020, because that was the year it was a death of movies released. So let's get to the story. Okay, let me take a drink of water real quick because it's going to be a lot of talking and a lot of stuttering. Alright. Are we good? Okay, we're good. Alright. Here we go. Once upon a time, it was in March 2020. And we was really excited to see a final installment of the Daniel Craig Bond movie, which is none other than No Time to Die. The original release date for No Time to Die was on April 3rd, 2020, which is a month about Lamborghini Strike Back birthday. And rest in peace to and rest in peace to Lamborghini Strike Back channel. And I'm really sorry I was kind of laughing in that part when I said that, which I didn't mean to. I was coughing, not laughing. So there's a difference. In the UK, and on April 8, 2020. But however, due to the COVID pandemic, the film release was delayed multiple times. So originally this film was supposed to come out on April, but sadly this film got delayed until on November, which just makes sense because that's a James Bond month, because Die Another Day came at the exact same month, which is November 22nd. So yeah, even that is Frozen 2 and Wish release date, but those two films came way before. So yeah, anyway. Honestly, Die Another Day came way before Frozen 2 and Wish. I meant to say. Sorry about the stuttering, because that's the whole point that you've been talking too much. So let's continue. So due to this film got delayed on November, we got a first look of the trailer and a first look of the music video, what Billie Eilish was singing. You know what Universal pay us? That's right, they have to delay the darn thing again. This film was supposed to come out on November, right? But Universal have audacity to delay this film on April 2021. Okay, that is going way too fast. And yes, I understand. People was panicking of COVID or coronavirus or pandemic. People was panicking like it's the end of the war. I understand that. But how on earth that you make your fan angry, including Bond fans, you made them impatient. They was waiting for No Time to Die. And I was waiting because you just released a trailer and a music video. So what is the point of releasing this movie on November and all of a sudden you just delay until on April 2021? Because that was the original release date. But due to the COVID came wrong, that's why it got pushed back on 1 year, which is April 2021. And not just that. Honestly, it was in April 2021. This film got delayed again, and the third time in the war. This film got delayed until on October 2021. And I was like, you know what? I am sick of freaking tired of seeing these movies delayed. And movies delayed is really unnecessary. And yeah, sure, some of the movie delay can be understandable. Why it's because of the pandemic is excused, and of course it's etc. So the release date of the next Bond film has been delayed for the third time because of the fact that we have a coronavirus, which is a pandemic, or COVID-19, whatever we call that thing. But anyway, honestly, you want to know how many times that No Time to Die got delayed? This film got delayed for the third time. No Time to Die was originally going to come out on April 2020 and got delayed until on November. And after that, it got delayed again on April 2021. And on January, it was really unbelievable because No Time to Die got delayed for the third time until on October 2021. Which is at the same time I completely understand they delayed that movie. It's because how on earth you're gonna have two Universal movie that come out the same month, which is Nobody and No Time to Die. And I just said, I give it to you right now that that No Time to Die will make more money than Nobody. Which, yeah, that's not the reason why. The reason why they delayed this film for the third time is because we have a COVID-19. I do not want to see this news ever again because I feel so sorry for these Bond fans, and I hope you're happy, Alex. You made me sick, and of course COVID-19 made me sick too, but more as much as Alex. So yeah. Honestly, I give it to you right now that Alex back then was very happy. Honestly, he was doing this. Yay! The No Time to Die got the way. Yes, finally, I don't want to see this freaking movie. But not until you didn't went on that movie. I'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, so that is the history how this film got the way for the third time, and I do not want to hear any of the news like this ever again. And I am so glad that the COVID-19 drama just turned down. And yeah, sure, COVID-19 is still around, but at least we don't have to suffer wearing the stupid mask. And I swear to God, if they go back wearing the mask, I'm just gonna take that darn off and throw it in the ground and step on it, because wearing the mask is just not cool, honestly, at this point. So, what is my thought on the Bond film, which is Daniel Craig Bond film? And to be honest, I kind of watched the original James Bond movie, which my favorite was the original James Bond movie, which is other than Dr. No. Dr. No is my very first Bond film I ever watched, which is the original James Bond. I like the original James Bond. The original James Bond is very amazing. The only Bond film I haven't seen and I refuse to watch is in my blacklist, which is other than Die Another Day. Do you honestly think I'll have audacity this year I will be watching that freaking movie? Yes, what I thought. So nope, you're not gonna see me watching Die Another Day. Oh well, I'm gonna lose my brain cell every single time I watch that freaking movie. So let me recap all the Bond film I enjoy or dislike. Let's get to Casino Royale, which is my favorite film that came out in 2006. This film got a 8.0 stars, and that is pretty cool, honestly, at this point. And of course, this film got a 80 on Megascore. And I gotta say, Casino Royale is now officially my second favorite Bond film I ever watched. Well, originally I said on my Instagram, I said that Casino Royale is my favorite MGM movie. But more I think about No Time to Die, which I'll get to that in a minute. So I'll get to that very shortly. Honestly, I like No Time to Die more than Casino Royale. And yes, Mitchell said that he preferred Casino Royale more than No Time to Die, honestly, because that was his original opinion, and now his new opinion is very awesome, way better than his original opinion, because of you know what. Sorry about the laughing again, because that's the whole point that you've been studying too much. Anyway, let's continue of this presentation. Anyway, so I enjoy Casino Royale. Casino Royale is my favorite 2006 movie. And this is even better than a one film that came out on YouTube. And of course, The Wire. And of course, Everybody Heroes. Even I like Superman. But having the Superman direct that animated film, it was a terrible idea. So, yeah. Honestly, I like Christopher Lee. But, yeah, actually, it's for the best that you just stick with acting more than directing the film. But rest in peace to his legend actor, by the way. Actually, rest in peace to Christopher Lee. He's a very legend, I meant to say. So after Casino Royale, which is a wonderful James Bond film, what a perfect start of the Daniel Craig Bond film. And of course, you got Quantum of Solace. This has got to be one of the weakest films out of the Daniel Craig Bond film. And don't let me get started of the theme song. Oh my god. This has got to be one of the worst Bond theme songs I have ever heard in my life. And this film might be in my top 10 worst movie of 2008. But honestly, more I think about it, I just think this film was painfully average. Same opinion as much as Toy Story 4. Even I'm not comparing those two films because those films have nothing in common. So yeah. So I gotta say, but the second Daniel Craig Bond film, honestly, that's when the franchise just really jumped the shark. But honestly, not saying a lot because after Skyfall, what a huge improvement after Quantum of Solace. And I'll probably people don't mind about Quantum of Solace will be a mediocre Bond film. Which this film right here, this film was very mediocre. Oh, no, not that. This one, editor, this one. Quantum of Solace is a mediocre Bond film. So sorry, I just zoomed the camera on Skyfall, which I enjoy Skyfall. Skyfall is an amazing masterpiece, and this has got to be one of my third favorite film of 2012. And of course, you got the underrated gem called Spectre. I enjoy Spectre, okay? I don't understand why some people didn't even care about Spectre, which I can hear your opinion if you don't like Spectre, but at the same time, I just don't get it. But honestly, as much I am not a opinion basher, but once again, I just don't get why Spectre got a similar review as much as Quantum of Solace. And I gotta say, Spectre is kind of higher than Quantum of Solace, but that's not saying a lot because Spectre is a fantastic underrated gem, and Quantum of Solace, not so much. And I'll get to No Time to Die because this film, I'll get to that in a minute right now. So let's check out some Rotten Tomato ratings, shall we? So this film, No Time to Die, this film got a 83% on Rotten Tomato for the critic, and this film got a 88% for the audience. And this film, for the top critic, it got a 80%, and for all the audience, they give this film a 81%, which is pretty awesome. Which I wish it was higher than the other James Bond film because actually this is the only James Bond movie I keep rewatching. Like, I have no idea how many times I rewatched this movie. Like, I don't know, like 1 or 2 or 3. Yeah, I'm really thinking I rewatched this film like 3 times. 3 times. Yeah, 3 times. As much as Universal keep the rating James Bond movie for 3 times. And for me, however, I rewatched this movie like 3 times. And like I said, that's the only James Bond movie I would definitely rewatch more than a Casino Royale, Skyfall, Spectre, and not Quantum of Solace, because that film was very mediocre, very mediocre. And speak of the IMDb rating, which I'm going to get to that right now, this film got a 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb, and this film got a 68 on Metascore. And does No Time to Die got a box office hit? Absolutely yes. After the rating, we have finally got No Time to Die on October 2021. And this film was a golden phenomenon at the box office. Well, not the review, because I think the review is very mixed. Some of the people Some of the people like it, some of the people think it's okay, and some of the people like Venice Menace, like Jimmy for Geeku Gamer, that nerdy YouTuber, and last not least of OK Outpost and kind of None Dimension. They absolutely did not like this film. Why? It's because it was it's because of the fact that this film was written by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and I'll get to that hate in a minute. So I just completely nonsense. So yeah. So No Time to Die is why it was a box office hit. Thought it didn't reach at the highest grossing level of the other Bond film. It grossed over $774 million worldwide, and making it as the third highest grossing Bond film and the fourth highest grossing film of 2021. And while it performed well, it was a pandemic and didn't match as a successful of some of the earlier Bond film. Yeah, if you do not have any pandemic drama, we should not be in the situation, and this film should have been a lot better box office than the one that we got right now. Well, even this film did pretty awesome, but that's not saying a lot because we heard about the news about No Time to Die to lose million and directly run, honestly. Because this film, honestly, this article came out on November 22nd, 2021. Yeah, that's right. The same day I was celebrating Frozen 2 as a anniversary. And this is how they pay us. No Time to Die to lose million and directly won. What kind of crap is that? Honestly, I already know I was almost saying the bad word, which we do not, we do not say that in the lounge. And if we said it in the lounge, put a soap in your mouth. So yeah, and honestly, that's not the death threat. So honestly, at this point, so how some people don't care about No Time to Die, you ask? Well, it's because of the underwhelming villain Salvin, and I'll get to him in a minute. And of course, lackluster writing, and of course, lackluster storylines. And like I said, the reason is a lot better than what Alex said why he hates No Time to Die, which honestly I just found it really stupid. And of course, how No Time to Die got backlash. Well, it's because honestly, do you remember the one character named Namel? Namel, I think, Nomi. Yeah, her character got backlash all because of the color of the skin. Seriously. Why are we going to the woke term in a Bond film? This is This is a W07. Why are we having a woke, like quote woke culture, having these terms in this Bond film? That is completely stupid, and this is the main reason why they are judging it based on the cover. When after that Lynch character going to be a new Bond, people was really freaking out. Like, really? Who cares what color of Bond have? And who cares about what gender having Bond has? And like I said, I do not care if you're male, female, American, China, Hong Kong, etc. I do not care. All I care is about giving your best performance and giving your best screenwriting. Who cares about the skin color? And it can show that people have lost their freaking mind back in 6 years ago in 2019. And after I heard about that news, I was completely laughing my butt off, and I was not surprised at all. Because the main reason why I was not surprising, it's all because of the fact that this news was copied from the Phantom Menace complaint about Star Wars, Marvel, DC, etc., which is really getting on my freaking nerve. So who is the backlash of No Time to Die? Well, it's because of Lynch as a first black female Bond. Okay, that was really bad to said. Yeah, honestly, we're gonna try that again. So, Lashanan Lynch. If I say her name wrong, my apology. I am terrible at pronouncing people's names. As a first black female. Okay. We're gonna try that again. Once again, the first female, a W07. That's much better. And criticism of the script and the plot. Yeah, I'm really thinking Phoebe Walker-Bridge completely wrote the script for No Time to Die. Yeah, no wonder that this film got very mixed. It's because that we have one female who want to be a next Indiana Jones, and that is not happening around everybody. But honestly, and wrote the script for James Bond. And that is the main reason why the villain was very weak. That's what the people said, not me, because I really enjoy Salvin, and I'll get to him in a minute. And last but not least, due to this film got very mixed review, and this film was kind of hit, but not as much as was expected. This film won a reward, especially this film won at the Academy Award at the USA for Best Original Song. This film won for Best Original Song for No Time to Die, sang by Billie Eilish. Even I really want Encanto song won over No Time to Die song, but like I said, that is honestly, I gotta say, but that is the only good thing about 2022 Oscars. You already know what is my thought on 2022 Oscars. It's awful, it's pieces of crap. I might do a redo rant of that in the future, because I did rewatch my original rant of that, and it did not age well. It aged well like freaking milk. And of course, this film got nominated for Best Visual Effects and Best Sound Effect. And like I said, but I would have those two win over Best Original Song category. And of course, they did some Bond tribute, which that's pretty awesome. And they did it exactly the same darn thing in this year Oscar, like this year. Anyway, so I'm just gonna go ahead and shut my mouth and I'll check it out. This nominations. So, Hans Zimmerman got nominated for Best Score, and this film got nominated for Best Foreign Film, and this film got winner for Best Original Song from the Golden Globe, and this film won for Best Song for Critics' Choice Award, and this film got nominated for Best Visual Effect. So the original song I got one, which done at the Golden Globe and at the Academy Award. And of course, this film got nominated for BAFTA award. This film got nominated for Outstanding British Film of the Year, Best Cinematography, Best Editing, and Best Visual Effects, and last not least, Best Sound Effect. And like I said, those sound effects is absolutely peak. So I gotta say, but well done reward, well done indeed. Even I really despise that the Oscar back in 2021 because of Amy freaking Schumer. But I gotta say, you did a well done job with this reward thing back then. And I was very proud of you guys. So keep it up. So yeah. So what do I think about No Time to Die? I absolutely love this film. Yeah, I just don't get why people do not like a female to be to be as a new James Bond. Like, seriously, this film is not, this film is not like Indiana Jones 5. Yeah, this film is not like Indiana Jones 5. Why I'm saying that? Well, honestly, look at Indiana Jones 5. They could treat my boy Indiana Jones as a dirty man. And of course, they treat Phoebe Waller-Bridge like a character development just like Rey Skywalker. Oh my god, she's not Skywalker. She's a Palpatine. Yeah, Rey from Star Wars: The Rise of Poot Walker. The main reason why I call it that is because I freaking hate that movie so much. Well, not as much as the other Star Wars film, but that's not the point. The point is, I gotta say, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, she did a lot better screenwriting in this film more than her character in Indiana Jones 5. Why I'm saying that? Well, it's because of the fact that at least this woman, at least Norma, at least she did not treat James Bond as a worthless man. And when you go to Indiana Jones 5, she could, honestly, Phoebe Waller-Bridge character, she completely treat Harrison Ford just like Luke Skywalker. And I gotta say, I do not want to see any of the woke thing in the Indiana Jones movie. That is stupid, and I cannot believe why Disney and Lucasfilm think it was a good idea. Well, mostly Lucasfilm. Can't blame on Disney everything. That's stupid. Because I have to agree with Star Wars. That's the reason why I don't plan on hating on Disney Snow White. So yeah. And if you call me a Disney shill, nothing to say about it. So let's move on. So, do I have any flaws about this film? No, absolutely not. If I get one more flaws about this film, I will be a terrible movie critic. So, buckle up, everybody. It's going to be a long review because I did some recover of the news. And now let's talk about why I really love the movie called No Time to Die. In this review will be like 20 or 30 minutes. I hope it's not 1 hour, or else that would be the longest review I ever did. So however, the story worldwide, it was a fantastic story. And I don't understand why some people think the story is weak. And I gotta say, I don't mind with the story at all, because at least it's so at least it's a lot better story-wise, more than the story-wise in Indiana Jones 5. Because the main reason why I did not like Indiana Jones 5, and honestly, I'll get to that maybe in the future for Disney Week. So, yeah, I got a lot to say about that freaking movie on November. Freak me. Anyway, honestly, let's cut that out. Anyway, so I have nothing to say about the story because I don't want to make any fan base angry. The hate base angry, because you already know that the Phantom Menace do not like this film, and they do not want you to like this film. It can show that they are a bunch a man child and female child. They acting like a freaking 5-year-old child and completely bash people's opinion who really enjoy No Time to Die. Especially for Alex. Let's get to that right now, because I cannot believe what Alex did in this No Time to Die rant. Yeah, actually, he crapped on Jane Bond death scene. Really, Alex? Do you not know that crapping on Jane Bond death scene is completely heartless? You should know that celebrating people's death is very illegal and very heartless. The main reason why I say it's illegal is because it is not right to celebrate people's death. Like, honestly, you don't see me doing that. Even I don't like Bonnie Ruggero, but honestly, I don't want her to die. I don't want her to die. She's a human being. Well, being mean to Kim, that's a different story, but that's not the point. The point is, you should not be celebrating Bond as a death. Like, you don't celebrate his death scene. Like, if you celebrate his death scene one more freaking time in your new upcoming rant, I am going to redo a reaction and try this again. It's going back in 2021, darn it. It shows that Alec is stuck in his past, and I'm getting sick and tired of this BS. I'm sick of it. So yeah, and that's the main reason why that's the series finale of the Cringe-a-thon are going to be this weekend, which I might be there. Let's hope I don't have any busy schedule, which let's hope not. So let's continue with the movie. So yeah, actually, I'm very sorry I was talking about that, which actually I do not care what was in the past. And if you say it was a past excuse, that type of excuse, that is total bull crap. Because you already know that celebrating death scene is completely illegal, and you should not be doing that BS. And I swear to God, if I hear any people say that I was in the past, that is so pathetic excuse. That is the most pathetic excuse I ever heard by a human. Because a part of these people saying that they're not human, they're like AI bullcrap. So yeah. Anyway, so let's get the character, shall we? Let's get to the character played by Daniel Craig, which is him as a James Bond. I gotta say, his character, it is fantastic character development. And I'll get to this death scene in a minute, because his death scene is the most saddest death scene. Yeah, actually, it is the most saddest death scene in 2021, next to Aunt May death scene in No Way Home, which is very sad. But not as sad as much as James Bond death scene, and it makes me cry really sadly. So I gotta say, even his death scene is really was really tragic, but Daniel Craig gave one of his best performances to date, honestly. And there was a video that he was saying to the casting crew and the production crew, saying goodbye to his Bond character, and it's been a year that he played his characters. Honestly, this is exactly the same what happened to the Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 2. And when they wrapped the film, and the actor that he's to play as Harry Potter, he was really saying goodbye to the casting crew and the production crews, and Daniel Craig did it exactly the same, but this time it's in No Time to Die. And that was very sad, and honestly, I have no idea who's going to be the next James Bond. And I swear to God, if I hear Snyder Cut, it's going to say, oh, honestly, how about Henry Cavill? No, get the Henry Cavill out of here. Nobody wants to see some serious James Bond. No one wants to see that. Well, actually, he did a performance in Deadpool Wolverine as a serious role. And of course, he was in some of the comedy film like Argyle. If you want to see a James Bond featuring Henry Cavill, go watch Argyle. I already know that film is bad, and for God's sake, that film is it's a lot better than having Henry Cavill as a new James Bond. Like, I have no idea who's going to be your next James Bond, but people, for the living God, stop saying Henry Cavill. You're praising Henry Cavill like it's better than God or something. And that's the main reason why the new Superman is getting backlash, is because people have lost their freaking mind by judging that film because of a cover. And they want the Snyderverse to continue, and I'll get to that maybe in the future. So yeah. And of course, you got the main villain in the movie played by Ramos Marx. Anyway, and honestly, in the character named Sabin. For a Bond movie, this has got to be one of my all-time favorite Bond villain I ever seen. and he might be one of the darkest and the most disturbing villain in a good way I ever seen. Because his villain is absolutely amazing, absolutely tragic. Yeah, as much as the James Bond death scene. But honestly, 7, he's a very creepy guy, and it can show that you do not want to mess with this guy. You don't want to mess with this guy, and he completely talk, and his voice is really deep and sound like kind of the character from The Dark Knight. But I gotta say, he might be the Joker of the Bond movie. Even he don't do any laughing, but honestly, those two characters are very dark, and that's the main reason why 7 is my favorite Bond villain I ever seen. He might be even better, just like the villain from A Casino Royale, which that's my next review, and stay tuned for my review of that. Well, actually, my next rant, which is another that whip-off of Beavis and Butthead movie, which I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. Anyway, let's get to more characters. So, Norma, she's a very fantastic Bond girl. I don't understand why some people think that she's the worst character in the movie, or because she's a replacement to Daniel Craig Bond, and she is a black female. She's being like a new James Bond. Oh my goodness, that is so woke. Shut the frick up, people. I do not want to hear any of your wokeness in this Bond film. Like, come on, this is a Bond movie you're talking about. Keep the woke term out of your freaking mouth, and keep the woke term out of it, because 007 do not want to hear you guys to say woke to this character right here. And like I said, I'm a huge defender of the character, and I do not care what everyone says. So let's move on before I get bashful in the comments, just like my last video. And it can show that the SML fan are completely toxic in that video. But in the Phantom Menace are way worse than the SML fan base. So anyway, let's get to more characters. So Madeline, she has got to be one of my favorite characters. My second favorite character in this film, because she's a wonderful mother. She has some fantastic character development, and I don't mind that she was kind of whiny, but not as much as what Alex said. And like, how in the world that she was whiny? That's her characters. She was really worried about this mission. So actually, what I want her to do? You want her to be like, oh, screw you, Jane Bond. I could do this. I could do that. No, Alex, no one wants to see that crap. Yeah, actually, people want to see some more character development, more skill of her characters, and that's why Madeline, as I said, she's a fantastic character development, and this has got to be one of my favorite performances by Lynch. So Alex, stop it. Anyway, so Miss Moneypenny, yeah, she's got to be one of the most underrated female characters in this film, because she is very beautiful, and her outfit is really gorgeous. And my favorite character in this film, which is other than the chick played by Ana de Armas. And then the main reason why I'm doing this review of this movie is all because of the fact that her next movie called Ballerina, which is coming out this Friday, are really... Well, the review is not doing pretty well, because you have these fans that saying that film is woke. Like, how in the world that John Wick spinoff is woke? I'll get to that. Honestly, I might make a video about that maybe tomorrow after I get done with my MGM and my Kim Possible and finish month, because I will be pretty busy on that day. Anyway, so let's go back to Ana de Armas characters. So Pomatum, played by Ana de Armas. If I say her name wrong, my apology, because I am terrible at pronouncing people's name. Come here, strike with ya. Yeah, she was a very, very outstanding Bond girl. And her action sequence when she punched and kicked the guards, I gotta say, that is a well done job at Ana de Armas. And she might be one of my top 10 favorite action stars of all time. Well, even I think Tom Cruise is my favorite action stars more than Ana de Armas. But Ana de Armas, she might be in my top 5 or my top 10 or my top 20. I don't know. Anyway, so what else character we have in this film? What else characters? Oh yeah, we have Q, which is a fantastic character. M, my favorite performance by Ralph. Well, actually, my second favorite performance by Ralph. But my favorite So my favorite performance by Ralph, what's other than him as Alfred Pennyworth from the Lego Batman movie. And of course, Logan Ash, played by Billy, the same actor that he was in that live-action Lilo and Stitch remake. And I have no opinion on that, so let's move on. So Logan, he's a fantastic twist villain. And honestly, I didn't even know he was a villain in the movie. But honestly, I actually, when the part when Jane Bond was telling Vado, say, what is that? And Vado say, I don't know. And Logan was trying his best to calm down Bond and say, oh, please don't talk about that. And that's when Logan Ash become a villain, become the main bad guy, honestly, the third main bad guy, because the second bad guy, which is another in Primo, and the first bad guy, which is another in 7. And of course, Felix, his death scene was very sad, but not as sad as much as Jane Bond death scene, and I'll get to that in a very short way. So Felix, he's a fantastic character, and he might be one of my favorite performances by Jeffrey Wright, honestly. And of course, Bill, he's a fantastic character. And of course, Primo, man, what a disturbing villain. And of course, his villain got his eye. That's the main reason why I cast his characters to Spy in Disguise. I grabbed the villain in Spy in Disguise and cast him as Primo. No, not Primo from Disney Channel. What do you think you're fooling? He ain't fooling nobody, you know what I mean? But honestly, I was just doing that for my No Time to Die Toon Style. And if you haven't seen my Toon Style, check it out. It's pretty awesome, alright? And of course, you got Madeline Daughter. Madeline Daughter was outstanding. She was very amazing. And she is very adorable, but in a friendly way, not in a pedophile way. When Alex say that, it was really disgusting. But when I said it, honestly, it sounds a lot better. In the action sequence, I gotta say, this has got to be one of my all-time favorite action sequence I ever seen for a Bond film. Especially for the scene when Jane Bond and then the armor characters defeat the bad guys, guide over her hands with the gun shooting, punching, kicking, and throw them up the hand. Oh, yeah, that was very amazing. And of course, you got the motorcycle chase. That is very amazing. And of course, you got the bridge sequence when Jane Bond went into the bridge and jumping off the bridge. And of course, you see him roll the motorcycle, go boom. Yeah, anyway. And of course, you got a climax of the film, which the climax of the film is my favorite scene in the film. Well, my second favorite scene in the film, because my favorite scene in this film, which started once again Jane Bond and ended in armor action sequence. That was pretty cool. Whoever do the cinematography, you will deserve that winner, because that cinematography in this film, one of the second best cinematography of 2021. It was chef kiss. And this is exactly how you do a movie, not Clifford the Big Red Dog 2021. Nobody give a darn about that. And of course, the ending. Holy heck. I did not see this coming. The ending will have spoiler territory. If you don't want to hear it, well, exit the video, and then you could come back after I get done talking about that. And if you want to skip it, go ahead. Anyway, so there was one scene in the film when Jane Bond completely stand in the building, in the top of the building, and watch the missile go to Jane Bond. And Daniel Craig, Jane Bond said, I know. And he was very sad when he said that. And of course, the missile destroyed 7 Leia. And of course, Jane Bond was included. And that's when his death scene was completely tragic. And all the characters in this film, especially for M and Madame, it can show that those two and everybody, including who really like Jane Bond, who really care about Jane Bond, honestly. Like Jane Bond death scene, that's the one death scene that you should not be cheering, Alex. Like, seriously, why? You know what, I already talked about that, so let's talk about my opinion on the death scene. Instead of laughing, I was really crying. Very emotionally, just like the Iron Man death scene. This is just as sad as much as the Shaggy death scene from Scoob, but thankfully he was alive. Elsa and Olaf death scene, from Frozen 2, and thank freaking goodness that those two was alive, especially for Elsa. Like, how in the world are you gonna have a Frozen movie without Elsa? So, what's the point? And of course, the John Wick death scene in John Wick Chapter 4. So, and don't forget Mufasa death scene from The Lion King, which is the older death scene that you think is very sad, which is really sad, honestly. But Jane Bond death scene along with Aunt May death scene are both tied. Well, honestly, not tied. But Aunt May death scene in Spider-Man No Way Home is, honestly, it's still my second favorite. But Jane Bond death scene, it has got to be one of the... Oh, wait a second. I was saying Aunt May death scene is the most saddest death scene I ever seen. So, yeah, please just ignore that. But I gotta say, Jane Bond death scene along with Aunt May death scene as the most saddest death scene I have ever seen. And please ignore what I just said about favorite. I was very heartless. I am very sorry. And please skip that part if you want to. Because I don't feel like removing that part or else the editing will be a pain in my butt. And of course, we have the ending when Madeline and her daughter going through the tunnel while the music playing, and boom, that should be the end of No Time to Die. And I just said, best Bond movie ever. So overall, guys, that was a very long review I ever did, and this might be one of the longest review I ever did this year so far. So overall, guys, No Time to Die was an outstanding masterpiece to start to finish. The story was very underrated. The characters are very unforgettable. The action sequence was really brutal. And of course, the tiny problem I have for a visual, which is other than the bubble in the people's face, I gotta say that is absolutely disgusting. And that is the tiny flaws I have it, because that bubble in the face, period, it looks absolutely awful. It looked absolutely disgusting. Yeah, as much as Bonnie kissing Juan, but even worse than bubble in your face. So that is freaking disgusting. I do not want to see it in that motion picture. So yeah, and the opening sequence, one of the best opening sequence I have seen for a Bond film, and no pun intended. So I'm gonna give No Time to Die a 10 out of 10, epic brilliant masterpiece, and I'm gonna give this peak movie a seal of Nick awesomeness. And Alex, screw your opinion on No Time to Die, and screw you when you celebrate Jane Bond death scene. And yes, when I said it's my favorite, which I didn't mean to say that because I was stuttering. So that was stuttering. So that was not my fault. That was my stuttering fault. But at least I did apologize. But Alex, he did not apologize one bit. Yeah, he did not apologize one bit. So Alex, stop celebrating people's death scene. It's very heartless. I do not care what's in the past, but bottom line is, you should know that celebrating people's death scene is very cold-heartless jerk, and you should not be doing that BS. And that proves my point. And Alex, freak you, and this film is peak. And that's all I have to say. So yeah. So fellas, that was my movie review on the very first MGM review for MGM month, which is another No Time to Die. So tell me about your opinion on this epic, brilliant masterpiece film on the comment section below. You think it's good, think it's bad, think it's mediocre, think it's best, think it's a worst, comment below and let me know. And honestly, and comment, what is the next MGM movie that you want me to do a review? If you want me to do a review on the Jump Street movie, I will be lovely doing that. And of course, stay tuned for my movie review, my redo movie review on The Beekeeper. And don't worry, The Beekeeper review is not going to be longer as this one. So I'm really thinking this review might be a 20-minute or 30-minute, which honestly, that is exactly how you do the review, because doing a longer review, it gives you more detail why you really enjoy this film. It just feel like honestly, it just feel like you're a professional movie critic, because doing a short review is cheap and lazy. It's very cheap and lazy. Yeah, let's face it, it's very cheap and lazy. Like, if you guys do a short video by reviewing the movie, that is cheap and lazy. But 20 minutes, 30 minutes, that take you enough time, and you deserve your time to review this movie on 20 minutes or 30 minutes, like every film in general. Because when Alex do his video for 1 hour, 1 minute and 30 minutes, no, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, that is really cheap and lazy. Well, even I'm not a huge fan of using that term, but that is a perfect example that Alex's video is cheap and lazy. My video is a lot better than that cheap and lazy video when you do a short review. Like, do you not know how many stuttering I did, Alex? Yeah, I'm very sorry I keep talking about him. Like, I did say I'm not going to talk about him, but he keep talking about me, and that's why I just don't decide, honestly, that is why I decided not to move on with this A, because I'm sick and tired of this BS. I'm sick of it. Anyway, so stay tuned for my movie review on Casino Royale, which I will be in the future, and stay tuned for my rant on that Beavis and Butthead ripoff, which I might watch the movie trailer and the narrator, and then I'll say the word title. But right now, we're going to say Beavis and Butthead ripoff. And of course, my next Kim Possible month video, which I'll be doing my top 5 favorite Kim Possible villain, and of course, stay tuned for my rant on the worst episode for Phineas and Ferb, which is that Phineas and Ferb go to the military, and the general is being too hard on Phineas and Ferb by squirting water on them. Like, that's going way too far. So I might talk about that maybe tomorrow for my rant. So stay tuned for that. So yeah. Anyway, so this is Nick Hicks Studio Lounge signing off. And guys, don't even listen what Alex said. Don't even listen what Phantom Menace said. Go watch this film. This film, it deserves your time. And this film is way better than some of the awful film that came out the exact same year, like Crip of the Big Red Dog, and what else? Not Paw Patrol movie. I enjoyed that film. And of course, Diary of the Wimpy Kids. I cannot stand that movie. It was from 2021. It was cheap and lazy. And of course, Halloween Kills, which that film was bad, but not as bad as much as the finale. Screw that. And last but not least, No Time to Die is a lot better than one film I got very nightmares back then. Which is none other than Cinderella 2021. God mercy on this all. Anyway, so this is Nick Hicks Studio Lounge signing off, and Daniel Quaid, thank you so much for giving us one of the best Bond we ever went in our entire life, in a good way. And let's hope, let's hope who will be the next James Bond. More than Harry Cavill, you stupid Snyder Cortez. And this is it. Now, goodbye!